You know, all good things must come to an end. What's that all about? Welcome to the Superpilotish channel. My name is Graham Wilson, and today in my basement, I'll be telling you all you need to know before going to El Salvador. Well, maybe not everything, but yeah, I just got back from a vacation there. I was in El Salvador for 4 weeks. And yeah, got back here and it's snowing outside right now here in Canada, Windsor, Ontario. So I'll just kind of get to it. I'm going to start with I always like to have my little show and tell on this show. So I'm going to show you what I brought back. So let's check it out. And then eventually I will get to the whiteboard and I'll tell you 8 things you got to know. Anyways, let's check it out. All right. Excellent. What's more El Salvador than an El Salvador bag like this? Oh, hey, Shecky, welcome to the show. Yeah, so I didn't really want to bring any checked baggage on the airplane when I was flying down to El Salvador. And I'm really glad that I didn't because you know how they always say at the airport, show up 3 hours early. And I always say, yeah, whatever. And then, like, when we were just about to leave El Salvador at the San Salvador airport. We showed up, I don't know, about 2.5 hours early, and there was a gigantic line for everybody checking their bags. So like we kind of walked by them and went through security and stuff. But if you have to check bags, no, it's not really on my list, my cheat sheet list here. But if you ever have to check bags in El Salvador, show up 3 hours early. There's a gigantic line, and but if you don't have checked bags, it's pretty quick. All right, let's get to the souvenirs in my El Salvador bag, which I bought. They were going to charge me gringo price for it. I think I might have paid gringo price for it anyways. And they're like $18. I'm like, no, I am a smart gringo, 15. And I got it for 15, even though they'd probably sell it to me for 10 or something like that. But oh well, it's still a pretty cool bag. I don't know if it's handmade or not. They sell these all over the place down there. Okay, let's get to the number one thing. What's everybody think about El Salvador? They think about coffee. So it brought back some coffee. So let's start off with the conspiracy coffee. Dun dun dun. Satoshi special blend. Okay, yeah, this is it's roasted by there's a company called Chorito Cafe. And I haven't actually tasted any of this stuff yet. I had some down there, but I haven't tasted the stuff I brought back. And yeah, you can pay. You see the little B on there? Bought that with Bitcoin. Yeah, pretty cool. Just zap it on your phone. Ding ding. You got it all ready. So we bought that one there. They said that that was like their the most popular coffee they sell. And that's also kind of cool that the way that they pay their growers and all the people that work there. So if you get that coffee and say it was like $6, then each worker gets a certain amount of that every time that's sold. So it's like, okay, Jose gets 25 cents and Maria gets 25 cents. And it's all automated through the Bitcoin payment system. It's just boom, goes right out. Who needs an accountant? Okay, and then we got this other one here. It's Torogos Dev, something like that. And I think the proceeds of this go towards what is it, Bitcoin developers and stuff like that. So I haven't tasted that one yet, but that's another coffee. And then, so in general, for the coffee, everyone says coffee is like amazing down in El Salvador. It's, I would say, like if you're a real caffeine addict, oh yeah, it's amazing, man, because it'll get you all zinged up. It's got tons of caffeine in it, and it's usually quite strong. I don't know, maybe they roast it a little bit longer or it's fresher or something, but it's like, whoa, that tastes like a coffee. And then pretty soon you get the shakes. So it's good stuff, man. And then this other one we tried was Cafe del Bosque. Okay, so that was kind of some newer people. We bought these all down at Bitcoin Beach. El Sante is the name of the town. And that's kind of where like all this Bitcoin stuff kind of started in El Salvador, was at Bitcoin Beach. And so it was a bunch of surfers hanging out there, and they just kind of ended up adopting all this for their stores and things. So Cafe del Bosque, I haven't tried that yet. The people that sold that to me, I think they might have been from Canada, because that means the coffee of the forest. And it looks like there's a moose on there and an elk. And there's no moose down in El Salvador. other critters, but not moose. And so, anyways, I think they might have been from Canada and moved back. There's a lot of people that are from the United States. We ran into quite a few that they're in the United States or Canada, and then everything got a little bit better in El Salvador, and they're retired, and then they're moving back, or they're bringing their family back to say, hey, the grandmother's been complaining she doesn't get to see her grandkids, so they go, okay, and then they move back. So it's quite a big deal. And what else did I get for cool stuff? Okay, now this was gifted to us. Snuff the coffee. We got this here is now there's there's a couple down in Berlin, but they've kind of lived here and there around El Salvador. It's this couple, Nicki and James, and they're all over YouTube. If you check out YouTube, NJ El Salvador. They got a big YouTube channel. We've been watching them for a while, and Nicki, she makes soap. So this is all natural. She likes the little Bitcoin brand on there, so that's the Bitcoin soap. It's all natural, made with beef tallow. And I'm like, isn't that like fat? It's not going to be like I'm rubbing lard on my skin or something like that. But I've actually used it today. And it's like, yeah, it's like very natural. The funny thing, and like I almost didn't want to say it, but it's just kind of a personal thing. I was like, what does this smell like? And she gives different scents and things like that she puts in there. It's kind of like beef tallow. She throws a couple other chemicals in there to make it lather up. And yeah, but I thought it actually smelled like an old boring mill, And I was like, why am I getting flashbacks of working in a machine shop? But in the old days, the coolant that they used to use for whether it was the big old radial drill press in the back corner of the shop or the big boring mill, they used to use a coolant that was made it was basically animal fat based, and it kind of smelled like that because you'd have your animal fat based coolant for your machines. They don't use them anymore too much. I think you can still buy it, but what would happen is it would kind of go rancid. Now this doesn't smell rancid at all. It smells like your good fresh coolant for your machine, plus like a little more happier than a boring mill. And yeah, so it would go rancid. Then you throw in a bunch of chemicals and stuff like that to kill the bacteria that's growing in there. It never quite gets right again. So then it's kind of bad working on a machine shop. But yeah, so I got just a hint of a machine shop smell, old school. It does. Machine shops smell a lot more chemical and Windex now. It rots your lungs out and burns your nose. But this is actually very mild. It's like if they're working in a machine shop now with the new coolant, they can get rashes really bad. But with the animal-based coolant and the animal-based soap it's really easy on your skin. Like I usually have a little kind of dry bits on my face here, and this stuff it didn't dry it out like other soap. So I think it's that's my actual honest opinion about Nicki's soap that she makes, and it's like I would keep using it. It's just it's just a very nice natural soap. So thank you for that, Nicki. And so there's that. What else did I get? Now, this is pretty cool. It's like I got this. I like to collect world leader coffee mugs, but I only have one. I got this Donald Trump mug that someone got me from Washington, D.C. One of my students, she brought it back. And it's just tacky. I love tacky mugs. So here we go. I was at the market in Berlin, and so they always love giving you these little plastic bags. Everything you buy in El Salvador, they give you a little plastic bag. And this one says Feliz Navidad, so Merry Christmas, even though that's quite a bit, quite past. But yeah, so let's unveil the coffee mug. Dun, dun, dun. And they wrapped it up nicely here, so I didn't. Yeah. Okay. Oh, I forgot about this. Yeah, I got a little Blink wallet sticker here. So that's the Bitcoin wallet that they use the most in El Salvador, and it works great everywhere in El Salvador. Blink wallet, yeah, and that was specifically developed. It used to be called the Bitcoin Beach wallet, and then they changed it to Blink, and so everyone knows the Blink wallet. So that's an additional sticker for my sticker collection. I put it in my coffee mug so I wouldn't lose it. So here we go. Let's see. Familia Bukele. Here we go. Look at this tacky bad boy. Oh, look at that nice family. What's this say? Recuerdo de El Salvador. I don't even know what that means. But anyways, Merry Christmas from the Bukele family. And then what else we got here? We got this bird. I don't know what kind of bird that is, but I think we saw one of them. And then they got the crest over here of the crest of El Salvador. República de El Salvador en la América Central. Okay, there we go. Dun, da, da, da. Homemade Merry Christmas Bukele mug. Pretty sweet, eh? And all right, I gotta have some. I'll have to have some El Salvador coffee in that one. Then it's I don't know what's tackier, that one or my. I think that one might be tackier than my Donald Trump mug, but anyways, I don't really use them too much. I just kind of have them, and I'd like to get a Joe Biden mug, but I don't know. Don't feel like going into Washington D.C. or anything. Okay, so that's just about it for the souvenirs. But here's another little El Salvador plastic bag. Oh, mon amour. Hi. Okay, so what do I have in my little, like I said, everywhere you go, they give you these little plastic bags. So I'm going to keep these. Now, this is something kind of cool that you don't really see too much. Down there, they use all these dollar coins. So these are US dollar coins. And if you remember way back in the day, the Sacagawea coin, we got presidential coins. We got some presidential coins. Do I got a Sacagawea here? Oh no, I got the Sacagawea is upstairs. But anyways, they came out with these presidential coins. I was researching it. Anyways, and I got this one on my last day there. It's actually kind of shiny. Who's this? This is John Quincy Adams. I don't know if you can see that. Perfect John Quincy Adams. Yeah, and then so it's all nice and shiny. It's a $1 American coin. You can see that $1. Yeah. I don't know if you can see that. $1. So yeah, so we got this, and it's like brand new, and there's no date on it where it was minted. So I researched on Wikipedia. It's like, what is this, like some counterfeit like dollar coin? But I guess what happened is like way back, I don't know, 2007 or something. The idea was in the United States that they'd start pumping out all these American $1 coins, and according to Wikipedia, it's like nobody wanted them. They wanted their $1 bills, right? So they just kept pumping out all these $1 coins, and banks didn't want them. Nobody wanted them, and they just kept producing them. And apparently now there's a stockpile of 1.4 billion of these things in the mint in the United States. So they're like, how do we get rid of these things? So no one here wants them, and like no one in the United States wants them. So what they're doing is like, because the national currency, well, the what was it? The legal tender, which means what you can use to legally buy and sell things in El Salvador, is the US dollar and Bitcoin. It's also the US dollar in Ecuador and Costa Rica. So whenever the banks in Costa Rica or Ecuador or El Salvador say, hey, American banks, we need some US $1, and they go, yeah, here, sure. Have a bunch of these bad boys, because we got 1.4 billion of them taking up room and nobody wants them. So there we go. That's the story of the $1 coin there. Yeah, and that actually makes a lot more sense. They last a lot longer, and it's a lot more of a cash economy down there. And yeah, so kind of makes sense there. I think Shecky was saying they're using them as tokens. I think you can use those as tokens on like the different subway systems and stuff like that in the United States, but I don't know too much about that. So that's the other thing I brought back. And so that will take me into, what else did I bring back? I brought back my phone. I never used this thing. I was only like, so I'm pretty much a noob. on the phone stuff. So which is kind of embarrassing because everybody, like everyone down there, they use WhatsApp, and I'm like, what's a WhatsApp? Is that some Chinese spy thing? Oh no, it's Mark Zuckerberg. It's through Meta or whatever. Okay, how do you do this thing? What is a WhatsApp? I still don't really know it too much. But I did put the Blink wallet on here to sell some buying to transact in Bitcoin. So we are going to be looking at the eight. Oh, I got to get out the old whiteboard here. I missed the whiteboard. Here we go. Good old whiteboard. Now we're getting to the tips. Here we go. These are the tips you need to know going to El Salvador. And this is a very, very short list of things to consider. But I just kind of thought of them one day. El Salvador tips. Now, some of this stuff you might already know. It might be second nature, but you might not. So here we go. You're gonna need some mad phone skills. You are gonna need some mad phone skills down there because everyone lives on their phone just like here. But I mean, I don't know. I'm just a freak. I don't really live on my phone. But yeah, so that was the first time I ever used an Uber was in San Salvador. WhatsApp, as they call it, or whatever. That using it as a Bitcoin wallet down there, and you'll have to get I had to get a new SIM card for that to work down there. So if at all possible, if you can get some kind of eSIM or something like that's a couple-year old refurbished phone I bought. Probably the more and down there generally an Android phone would work out better than iPhones. That's kind of that's my guess. And so if you can get some kind of thing next time if I go there, I'm gonna have kind of like grab a new phone and something with like dual eSIMs, and then it's easier you don't have to start messing around with SIM cards. And we had to walk to the mall and get some SIM cards, but that was an adventure in itself. But okay, now you always wonder when you're going camping, why is it important to go camping? Because your camping skills can actually help you out anywhere you go in life. So yeah, like we went down and our place had a charcoal barbecue at the one place we were staying at. I was like, oh, cool. Got this steak, paid for with Bitcoin with beef back better. It's this kind of local, what is it? Sort of grass fed, I guess, organic, supernatural. They're supernatural cows. Ooh, yeah, no, but it's like very organic kind of, the cows just hang out in the field, then they slaughter the cows and eat them, and it's a good steak. But how do you start a barbecue? And we like there's everything there in El Salvador is just a little bit harder than here. Oh, let's go to the store and get this. Oh, they don't have that. Oh, you gotta kind of know what store to go to, and like it's not necessarily online. So we were talking to. I asked Hector, the guy that kind of handyman at the place where we were staying. So hey Hector, is there a place where I can get charcoal? He's like, oh yeah, at the store down there. Oh, okay. And then it's just like this kind of little store by the side of the road, and I'm like, you got charcoal here? And like this is all in my bad Spanish and trying to understand Spanish and stuff like that too. And he's like, yeah, of course. And then so he gave me this, like, I don't know, it looked like some kind of homemade charcoal that was sold in like little bags like this. And I bought a bunch and carried it up the hill all the way to the place. And then I was like, okay, how am I going to start this barbecue with this charcoal? I don't have any, and there's no fluid or anything like that, like I normally use. And then I don't, I was thinking, I don't have any, there's no paper lying around and stuff. So I use some cardboard that I like, I don't know what they used it for, wrapping up I-beams or something like that for some construction where they're doing, but it was kind of half covered in cement and stuff. I used this garbage cardboard to get the thing going. So if you have to, yeah, can you light a fire? That's a good skill to have. And luckily I've done lots of camping and I managed to get a fire going. Although I think the steak would have tasted better because it kind of tasted like I don't know, I-beams, I-beams and construction dust. But generally, it was a pretty good steak, but it's just a just a little garbage flavor in there, just for flavor. Well, it was like I think just a little bit of the cardboard ash got on it, so it was a couple bites were like, but the rest of the steak was okay. So yeah, something like that, or even planning. Okay, water. It's like they say, don't drink the water, but I don't know, like, after talking to Hector, the pool guy and the maintenance guy, he was telling us that, like, they truck in all these, truck in the water, and they put it in these gigantic cisterns, and that's what you use for your, I don't know, shower, sink, toilet, all that stuff. And he was saying that was when they drop it off, it's potable water. Okay. So near the end, we got brave and like was in the hotel drinking the water in San Salvador right out of the tap, and did that, made some coffee with it at this other place. So it's not I don't know, I would say probably don't drink the water if it is like some small little town and it's on the municipal water supply. That everywhere else, it doesn't seem too bad, but you first go down there, you're like, how do I get water? And you realize how much water you go through when it's really hot too. You go through gallons of it a day, believe it or not. And planning for your food and stuff like that. And so, the logistics of camping. Okay, we're going to need food, water. Might even have to start a fire. So, camping skills are handy to have. Now, another thing. Okay, you will be walking. All right, you will be walking. Everybody's walking around down there because I mean, you can take the bus here and there. Buses are extremely cheap. But who knows what the schedule is? And it's one of those things where you just got to know. Oh yeah, the bus stop's down there. How do you know? Well, that's where the bus stop is. There's no signs. There's no nothing. It's just like, oh, hey, people are waiting around. Hey, the bus stop there. Okay, I guess that's the bus stop. And yeah, so if you're going to be walking there, it's not designed at all for anyone with any type of disabilities, or like if you're kind of obese and you can't walk too far, you're gonna have a rough time. There's some pretty steep hills depending on where you are, and even on the sidewalks, they're really uneven, and you got to watch. There might be just like a great big hole there. They're doing construction. Maybe they put like a little tape over half of it, but the other half's exposed, and you could just fall down there. And the one place we were going in San Salvador, it was kind of I wouldn't say it was a sketchy neighborhood, but it was like poor neighborhood, that's for sure. And we're walking along, and here's just this great big huge hole. It's probably about 4 feet deep, 4 feet. Like just monster hole. You could tell it was where like a sewer grate had like kind of washed out and it just went down. It's just this gigantic hole. It's like, don't walk in there at night, like you'll break a hip or drive your car in it, forget it. So yeah, that's why you'll notice it's usually very quiet there. No one's driving between like 10 o'clock at night and 4 in the morning. No trucks, no nothing. It's like dead quiet there. And then everyone kind of wakes up, starts going to work. But get some good walking shoes, and you will be walking. And when you're walking, it's an obstacle course. And it's kind of one of those things where I think about El Salvador is it was made. I kind of think it like that's the way things were kind of here in the 1930s or something like that, where you need a sidewalk. All right, there's a sidewalk. Well, what about the drainage? Oh, you didn't say anything about drainage. Oh yeah, we'll do that next, or something like that. And like all the stairs there, it's like we need some stairs. Okay, let's put in some stairs. But there's no building regulations or codes or anything like that. So the stairs are all uneven heights and widths and stuff like that. So you got to watch it. You're going to be tripping. Like here in North America, we're used to, it's the law that every stair has to be exactly right so you don't trip. And, it makes sense. But down there, they're just like, yeah, there's your stairs. Just like the farmer back in the prairies in the 30s. It's like, oh, you need a ladder going up to the barn? There's your ladder. Yeah, but all the rungs are uneven and like they're thicker and thinner boards and stuff. Yeah, it works though. There you go. Get the hay in the top of the barn. It works. Yeah. So it's the whole country's kind of like that. So here we go. Oh, another one too. If you dealing, okay, I'm running out of room here. Okay, dealing with panhandlers. Okay, I ran out of room. So dealing with panhandlers. Okay, people are begging for money because you are the rich gringo. They will walk up to you and ask you for money. Not much though. It's and they're not. One guy in La Libertad was a little. Yeah, he was all drunk. All these guys that are asking you for money, it's just the town drunk, and you can identify who's going to be panhandling off of you because they're dirty. People that are in El Salvador have a lot of dignity about how they look. No matter how poor they are, their clothes are always clean and probably less wrinkly than my papusa shirt here. Yeah, so they don't want to look like bums there. They don't have ripped clothes. They might not be the most expensive clothes, but they're clean and ladies wear dresses down there still. Um, and you have a little dignity to you. You don't go to the grocery store wearing your pajamas like here. Ooh, mustard stain on the shirt. They're not bums like we are up here, but you can identify the bums because they are filthy dirty, and yeah, they just been sleeping on the streets, and they might have their mental health issues or something. They could be the town drunk, and they beg off you, and then you give them money, and they go get booze with it. So yeah, those guys are like, oh, that guy's all dirty. He's a bum. He's gonna be asking you for money and stuff. Same as here, except down there, there's no drugs. There's no fentanyl. There's no meth. There's no heroin. There's no weed. Forget about it. There is nothing there. It's like you want your drugs. You got your booze, your cigarettes, cigars, and coffee. That's it. So yeah, anything else, you're going to jail for a long time. So yeah, they don't mess around with crime there. So yeah, although that being said, that they don't mess around with crime, I think I mentioned it in another video. Like, don't be worried about guys walking around with machine guns, because like we were walking in El Sante and there was this truck full of cops with machine guns. They pull up. We're kind of going around the corner as they're turning the corner, and they're like, "Hey, hey, like, hey, I got a machine gun. Hey, welcome to El Salvador." It's like, okay, thanks. It's pretty cool. They're nice guys. Army guys. I didn't really wave at them too much because they kind of got like their faces covered up. So yeah, I think they're more looking for the terrorists than wanting to be happy with the tourists. But I mean, yeah. Oh well, guys with machine guns. Yeah, and they kind of take care of the panhandlers. So yeah, there was this one bum. I don't know if I said that on another video, but there was this bum that we saw harassing a woman and her kids at the market one day, and so everything turned out okay there. And then, but that night there was a cop there, and they were kind of looking at, okay, are there gangs coming back here? So there's a cop with a machine gun there, hanging out, waiting for him. And for the rest of the week, never saw that guy around. So I think they knew who he was, and it's like, off you go, stop paying. And that guy actually asked me for money before the day before. So he was all these guys are like known, and as soon as they cross the line, they just kind of disappear. So don't be doing that. Okay, what else we got here? Okay, let's get gross. Uh-oh. I didn't want to bring it up, but I'm gonna do it. Okay. Let's get guttural here. Pooping in the garbage. Ooh, doesn't that sound gross? It does sound gross, but you get used to it. But let me be more specific. Okay, this is something that, as a North American guy, that like, I don't know, I'm used to flushing things down the toilet. Well, down there, they got 1930s pipes, and they haven't kind of gotten up to speed with, your water pipe is this big, your drainage pipe should be bigger, and then your sewage pipe should be even bigger. And then the road, going out to the road, you got to have a gigantic sewage pipe and deal with that. So we got that figured out here over the last 100 years or so, but they haven't had the time there because they've never had a stable country until now, forever, their whole history. So any of the big, or, it would be, okay, we're going to put in a new sewer line here. And then, so the federal government or whoever will give the municipality the money for the sewer line. They'll say, well, okay, we got the money for a 2-foot sewer pipe. Hey, let's just steal half of it and put it in one. And so they steal the money and they do a worse job. So, so you will, they ask you to not flush toilet paper down the, for girls, tampons and pads and stuff like that, don't flush that down the toilet. Now, girls are kind of used to not flushing things and disposing of things in the garbage. Guys are not. So I'm like, this is weird. But strangely enough, you kind of get used to it. And I think everyone has their own little technique on how to not flush toilet paper. I developed a technique that works for me. I don't want to go into details. I'll probably have flashbacks and like PTSD from it. But it's like, you kind of get used to it. Just girls get used to, once the girls hit puberty, they get used to throwing things in the garbage. And so think about it as you're a guy and you hit puberty and you got to start putting things in garbage like girls do. Oh, hey, Safety Doc. Hi. Thanks for showing up there, David. Okay, so there we go. You will have to figure out your favorite technique for throwing toilet paper in the garbage. But surprisingly, if you kind of wrap it all up a little bit, it can sit there for a while and it doesn't really stink. It's just kind of a gross idea for us North Americans, but different world. But then, do you want to go to India and crap in a hole, or China, crap in a hole on a bullet train going 300 miles an hour? I don't know. Still better than a hole, I think. Okay. All right. So what else we got here? We're coming up to 6. Okay, I'm running out of room here. I'm writing too big. I'm usually used to the superpilotish 5. Okay, you will find. Okay. Stray dogs. Okay, there are stray dogs. Depending on where you are, there can be more. I think if you're more out in the country, there's going to be a lot more stray dogs out there. Smaller towns. There's stray dogs in San Salvador, but I think they get hit by cars because there's a lot of traffic. So there's not quite as many strays there, but there's a lot of stray dogs around. Didn't see too many stray cats. Did see a raccoon, though. I didn't know there's raccoons in El Salvador because we had this. I don't know if I told you guys, might be repeating myself, but there's this cat named Jonathan that was staying at our house there, Airbnb we were staying at. And then there would be this black cat that comes in and steal Jonathan's food. So I'd go scare him away. And then there we go. That's cool. But he would still sneak back. And one time we went there and there's this raccoon there. I was like, I didn't know there's raccoons. And I guess there's raccoons in Central America. And the raccoon's sitting there pigging out on Jonathan's food. So there's stray raccoons and there's a few stray cats, but a lot of stray dogs. And I never really, they just kind of sleep, they're just like dogs. They just sleep a lot and they kind of hang around. If you're eating in a public square, they'll sit there and beg at the table, just, kind of hit you with their paw. Hey, give me some food. Just like all dogs beg at the table. But yeah, they don't really bother you. They don't look that mangy. Some look a little skinnier than others. And I think if they get sick, they just kind of die. So yeah, they don't really bother you. You just got to watch where you're driving too, but they're even the stray dogs are pretty smart. They stay near the side of the road. So okay, there's that. Stray dogs, don't worry about it. Stray cats, not really too much. I was expecting the stray dogs just to pack up and be like wolves or something, but they just don't care. They just want to eat garbage and stuff. So there you go. Okay, here's another one. Oh, I'm really running. I did not plan this properly. Okay, ants. You're gonna find ants all over the place there, and I don't know what the deal is, but the every kitchen we had, there was ants in it. Well, not in San Salvador. That was in like a hotel, but a couple places in Berlin and by the beach. Yeah, just ants. I'll kill all these ants. They come back. And they're always on the counter. So that's kind of where you got to kind of be. If you can do camping, you can do travel in a developing or third world country or whatever you want to call it. 1930s country. It's kind of like a lot like country living or something. If you're living out in the country, you're gonna have more ants. I didn't see any mice or rats or anything like that when I was down there. See more rats in my backyard. So yeah, there's ants. They're around. If you're down by the beach area there, there's, I don't know, there's like not really mosquitoes. Apparently during the rainy season there's a lot of mosquitoes, but my ankles my ankles are getting bitten all the time, right in the dusk and dawn and stuff like that. It's like, yeah, man, what's going on here? I don't know. You're gonna get some bugs there. So I'm gonna get to Shecky's little goat comment there. Yeah, and we're almost done here. So here we go. Okay. So in summary, you'll be just fine in El Salvador. If you're used to like country living, you grew up on a farm, you'd be fine there. It'd just be like, oh yeah, it's just like this or just like that. Yeah, so there's and at night, okay, you'll hear dogs barking all the time. But even the dogs shut up at about 10 o'clock, and then you'll hear roosters going off to, and then they start crowing about an hour before the sun comes up, and there you go, start your day, just like country living in the 1930s. So there we go. There's my El Salvador tips for you, all 8 of them. I'll just go through them really quick, and then we'll see if there's any real comments or questions here. So phone skills. Make sure you're up on your WhatsApp and all that other stuff. Grab a Bitcoin wallet, install that, play around with it, and don't be an old Luddite like myself. Camping skills, that's very handy there. Starting a fire, anything like that. You got to be in pretty good shape. And yeah, because the sidewalks are uneven, stairs are uneven. You're walking up some pretty steep hills. Dealing with panhandlers, stay away from the people that are all filthy dirty with their clothes. Those are bums. So people there, they might not have any money. Like they could be flat broke, but they look nice, so they're okay. Like we were living, the one store that we went and got our charcoal at, there were people living in like actual shacks right on the highway. It was, they get some, what do you call it? Like, get some logs out of the forest, like kind of, I don't know, trees and branches that fell, and then they're maybe, I don't know, 4 inches, 6 inches around, pound them into the ground. They screw on some galvanized metal, and there's their house. And there you go. They got chickens running around that they can eat and take the eggs, but they always have clean clothes out on the line, drying out after. So, I mean, they're living in a shack by the side of the road, and they still have more dignity than the people going to the grocery store here. So that's pretty cool. They just need some money, that's all. So yeah, the panhandlers, just tell them no, keep on walking. Pooping in the garbage, you'll figure it out. You don't poop right in the garbage. You wipe things and then throw it away. And I don't know if there's any videos on that, but I was going to do one, but it's just kind of gross. Glad I don't have to deal with that until I go to El Salvador again. Stray dogs, don't worry about them too much. I wouldn't really go pet them or anything. You'd probably get fleas or something. Ants, they're all over the place. Get used to them. Unless you're in a hotel in San Salvador, they're probably fine. So country living kind of encapsulates all that stuff there. And if you're a country boy, it's just being like on the farm, you got to do this. Oh, I got to haul water from here, stuff like that. So, all right, we're going to go through, move my riches over here. What's going on here? What did I do here? Back to tab. There we go. I clicked something with my mouse here by mistake. Got too much junk around here. Okay, so let's do Yeah. What else we got here? Mm-mm-mm-mm. Okay. Yeah. Okay, yeah, here. We'll go through what Shecky was saying here. Okay, 2 gallons a day. Yep, that's about what we used. Yeah, so it just felt weird. Just one place we were at, they were kind of cheap. Like we're buying water and buying water. Probably could have drank what was out of the tap, but we didn't know at that point. Ignore, no eye contact. Yes, stay away from the bums that way. Once you get eye contact, hey man, they start putting out their hands and stuff, which is weird, and you got to kind of mentally get for the panhandlers, you got to kind of come to grips with that because we are filthy rich compared to the way they are down there. But I keep thinking to myself, well, if I give away all my money, then I'm panhandling on the street next to them. So what's the point of that? And then, yeah. Okay, what else we got here? We'll get rid of that. All right. Safety Doc was talking about his friend lived in China for a year, and the rule is to toss used toilet paper in the garbage. Yep. So I guess that's pretty common in many places in the world, but we're just not used to it here in North America. And Shecky Pavel found a stray goat in Mexico. That reminded me. We're coming back from La Libertad to go back to our place in Atami, and I'll leave that up there. So we're just driving along. There's a bunch of construction there because there's construction going on all over that country. Like there's an economic boom going on there. Like 10 men. They're throwing up high rises. They're putting second floors onto their houses. They're building new houses. They're building highways. Everything is like there's just tons of construction going on there, which is like that's really that's pretty good to see because before all the money was getting stolen and now it's getting put into construction. So that's pretty cool. Yeah, so Shecky found the stray goat. We were going from La Libertad down to Itami, and to bypass some of this construction, our driver, I don't know if it was an Uber. Yeah, I guess it was an Uber driver. And he took this kind of side road thing. We're driving along. There's this gigantic herd of goats, and like this is right around like there's a beach over there, and it's kind of like not really ritzy, but it was like kind of a beach area. It's like, what are these 20 goats doing here, man? They look all ooh, the goats looked all messed up and everything. So I think goats go out and eat, and then they come back for some water at the end of the day or something like that. But yeah. All right. Okay. All right. So here we go. Shecky is the good man. He gives homeless folks cash and water when it really flush, not so often. Yeah, I don't know. It's weird. Yeah, it's kind of one of those things. It's like I remember when I was broke and I'd see all these people that are like really rich, and I'd be like, man, that's how do you do that? I can't get ahead. I can't find a job. Like you got to work a lot. But I don't know. I never really did panhandling. I don't know. It's just kind of a weird thing. But because I know what it's like to be broke, but I don't know. I never really panhandled before. Just go and get some crappy job and try to do better. But anyways, okay. So that is about it. What do we got here? Yeah. So, okay, that's about it. Just yakking in my basement here, 43 minutes. And hopefully that was helpful for some of you guys. Thanks for David and Shecky coming by here, Mona Moore. And yeah, I guess we'll just kind of shut her down. And I gotta wash this still. It still smells like China. No, actually, this shirt was not made in China. It was actually made in El Salvador by a company called Libertad. So that's kind of cool. And that's Yo Heart Las Pupusas. That means Yo Amo Las Pupusas, which means I love pupusas, which is the national food, which tastes fantastic. It's kind of like pizza. You can't have pupusas every day because like you get sick of it, even though it's good. Just like you can't eat pizza every day, you'll get sick of it too. So, anyways, that's about it. We will shut her down. Thanks everybody for showing up. So, thank you for watching. Bye.